Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video today, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've never got around to finishing the 11-hour live stream that Markiplier made, where he explains everything about who killed Markiplier. But last night, I was able to fully finish the live stream, and not only did I get to see Markiplier get lots of gel dumped on his head, but I also got some pretty big lore reveals that I might have missed or gotten wrong in past theories. So for this video, I made a list of timestamps while watching that live stream that I want to mention, talk about, and theorize about. So without further ado, let's begin. The first scene I want to talk about is right here, when you go into this kind of black void looking place and go through your memories, kind of looking at the past and the future. In the Who Killed Markiplier live stream, Markiplier pointed out how each of these are different takes, like slightly altered, slightly different choices as if. There's an example coming up right here where you see the detective, you're just talking to the detective, but you look up and you see the colonel. That's not in the past actual scene. This is like different takes and stuff. And what does Markiplier have to say about this?
So it's all different clips, and what that's trying to suggest is that, you know, when you're looking into the past or future, like you see alternatives, like different. Or I'm not saying literally you see it, but
like, your memories are different.
Your memories are never exactly what occurred.
No, it's not memories necessarily. It's like when you're clairvoyance stuff, like you see paths that could have been like alternate versions of events. Like even in the future, when you're looking in the past and future, like things don't always match up. But it's similar to the memory thing. Like things aren't always the same. These are like, this is clearly an event that takes place in the future, and even this is different.
To be completely honest, I don't think that this is too important lore-wise. I just thought it was a cool little detail, especially because when I first heard about it, it made me think of A Heist with Markiplier and In Space with Markiplier, where the future is kind of altered based off of the choices that you make throughout the video because of the blue crystal and all that. The next thing I want to talk about is this scene right here where you end up going into some sort of dark version of the mansion. And also right before that, you hear some sort of person or something kind of whispering at you. Hey, help. Now, I'm pretty sure in one of my past theories, I said that this was most likely just Celine and Damien trying to get in contact with you, but they really couldn't because like you were still alive or something. But I no longer think that that's the case. Instead, I think that this is Celine possessed by the evilness that's inside of the mansion, trying to get in contact with you, trying to lead you in a certain direction. And the reason I think that this is what's happening here is because going back to the end of Who Killed Markiplier Chapter 3, when you see Celine looking all weird at the doorway, in the Who Killed Markiplier livestream, Markiplier confirmed that that was Celine being possessed by the evilness inside of the mansion, or just the mansion itself, depending on how you look at it. Because believe it or not, the mansion is an actual canon character in the Markiplier lore. The mansion helps actor Mark go further and further down the rabbit hole of craziness, sparking actor Mark to plan the death of his old friends. Still don't believe me? Here's Markiplier saying it himself.
If I had to explain it anymore,
Limbo.
Once you go in the house, it's not like inside the house is not really our world. Like in the house is very different than out of the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As if, you know, I don't want to say it because it'll make people think
there's another dimension.
No, what I was saying, like if you stepped into someone's mind, that would be the greatest example that I could come up with. But then that makes people think of like a different way. Like if you step into someone's mind, imagine that's the same as you stepping into that house.
Yeah.
The reality is what they think of what it. Not saying there's something there that's thinking that stuff, but that's just the analogy. It's not like one thing. It's gently over time, like this thing whispering. Like, imagine after, like, Mark, his wife left him, his friend betrayed him. Like this thing whispers, like, that's not fair. That's not fair. No, that's not fair. No, you're right. No, that's not fair. Why should they be happy? No, of course. No, they shouldn't be happy. Maybe they shouldn't be happy. Maybe they don't deserve to be happy. Maybe you should do something about them not being happy. Maybe you should set something up to make sure that they'll never be happy again. And it's just this day by day step of like the longer you stay in that house, the more it drives you towards things like that it wants you to do. And the worst part is it convinces you that you thought of it in the first place. That's what the house does. And so over time, like these things get to people, the longer they've been in the house, the worse it is. And then Mark had a lot of time alone in the house.
And Markiplier also just said that the longer you spend in that house, the more crazy it's going to make you. And Celine already, obviously kind of had to live in the house since she was dating actor Mark. So that could help explain how easily she ends up getting possessed by the house whenever she first starts kind of looking into its dark magic and all that in Chapter 3 of Who Killed Markiplier. And this also helps explain Darkiplier's kind of color palette, because I know we've already talked about this multiple times. The red is for Celine and the blue is for Damien. But with this new information, I'm willing to bet that the gray parts of Darkiplier represents the evilness of the house or mansion. Because the last few times we saw Celine before she became Darkiplier, she was still possessed by the mansion. So I'm willing to bet that Celine and Damien aren't the only two things that are making Darkiplier. I feel like Darkiplier's also being made by the mansion. But now let's take a step back and rewind to this scene right here. Because in the Who Killed Markiplier livestream, Markiplier does say something else that is very interesting about whatever this mysterious dimension-looking place is.
You're in this weird nebulous state. You're still in the house, but something's not right. This isn't quite the world that Damien and Celine were in at the end, but it's the world you're in now. It's something bleeding over into this one. And then you get out of it, and you just look around and think not much of it. But then suddenly you're here. Like, you conveniently...
Crazy room.
Yeah, you conveniently go into here. Copy this back to why does the Colonel pop in and out everywhere? Do you think you're the only person that's ever done this? Do you think anyone else in the house has ever experienced this and then not questioned it, or not remembered it, or not think about it?
Like Weeping Angels. No,
is this why the longer you stay in the house, the worse things get?
So throughout these 4 chapters of Who Killed Markiplier, you've most likely have had other characters throughout the mansion also do this kind of dream walking type deal as well. But now let's move on to the next reveal that's in this live stream.
Mark had been experimenting and trying and understanding this place and what this place was and doing research and was able to look into the history of the house and get history on the backstory of it and get history on what was happening here and understanding more and more. And so he was stabbed 37 times. That's because he's stabbed himself 37 times over the course of preparing for this. Poisoning, beating, drowning, shot, all of these different various things. Just trying to see and push the limits and understanding and knowing what it is. Because every time that he died, he got sent to this place and was able to really get a deeper understanding of it and understand what's going on.
That's actually a really cool and funny detail, the fact that actor Mark just kept on killing himself so he can try to find out more and more about this evil mansion that he owns. And to be honest, I feel like that would be a really cool project that Markiplier could do. I would totally be down to see a new video that is canon to the Markiplier lore, where it's just actor Mark killing himself over and over again, and maybe even shows actor Mark kind of speaking and talking to the house itself. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move on to the big next reveal.
And then when it all came down to it, the answer is yes, the Colonel killed Mark, but it wasn't intentional. Mark wanted to set up an environment where he could frame the Colonel for his death, and then at the end of it, he could steal the Colonel's body and then get revenge
Now later on in this video, I will be showing y'all Markiplier explaining a more detailed version of how the Colonel accidentally killed Actor Mark. But the main detail to get from that scene right there is just the fact that the original plan was for Actor Mark to possess the Colonel. But Actor Mark never planned for Celine to be a part of this. She was never a variable in his plan, so she ended up just messing up the entire plan, and therefore Actor Mark ended up having to possess Damien's dead body instead of the Colonel, because the Colonel lived. But later on in the stream, Markiplier also reveals that Actor Mark got the idea to possess Damien's dead body instead of the Colonel's by the mansion. The mansion gave him that idea. So that just kind of shows more about how the mansion impacted people's decision making and all that throughout these 4 chapters of Who Killed Markiplier. And the last thing I want to show y'all in this video is a detailed version about how the Colonel ended up killing the Actor Mark on accident. But before I show y'all that, I do want to say that on one of my past theories, the amazing purple girl already informed me all about this, about what Markiplier's about to tell us in this clip right here. So shout out to her. And here is the clip.
Mark asked the Colonel to meet him in that cellar for a drink, which is why the broken bottle was down there, and he offered to play a game of Russian roulette.
For those of y'all who don't know what Russian roulette is, it's pretty much if you get a revolver and you have 1 bullet in it and you see if you get shot or not. So yeah, I don't recommend it, but you're gonna see here in just a second that Actor Mark and the Colonel played it a little bit differently.
He invited him down there for a drink. He wanted to let everything go and he wanted to finally be okay. You know, he wanted everything just to be fine. The Colonel was like, I'm not too sure about this, but sure. And then the Mark was just like, oh, whoa, no, it's totally fine. Like, everything's good. Let me show you. We'll play 1 game and let fate decide if that's fine. And then he pulled out like the Colonel's gun and put 1 bullet in it and then aimed it at the Colonel and shot. And it didn't shoot. And he was like, there you go. And the Colonel was mad at first, but then Mark was like, and the Colonel's very drunk at this point. Mark is not. And then Mark's just like, no, now your turn. And if it doesn't kill me, then everything's good, no bad blood. I took my shot because you did betray me. You take your shot, and after this, we'll let everything go and bygones be bygones. But Mark planned for it to be so the Colonel would shoot him. He did shoot him. The Colonel panicked, tried to hide the evidence, and then that's why in the first episode the Colonel is so flippant about it and so avoiding of Damien.
And that is what killed Markiplier. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy. There was lots of other big reveals and stuff in this live stream, but I didn't want to cover all of them because I still do have other Markiplier theories planned for the future. So yeah, stay tuned for those. And also really quickly before the video ends, my next video is most likely going to be a Minecraft video. So even if you're not really into Minecraft, just trust me, give it a chance. I've been working on this video longer than I usually work on videos, so just trust me, it will be good. So with that out of the way, I will see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.